Devot's lamentation.
Okay, you can start. I will share in a minute.
Yeah. Tenasta lokapa vihara kula chalendra dronishu ananga sakamaruta sobagasu siddhairnuto dyudhuni pata siva swanasu reme chiram dana davalalana varuthi तेरास्त लोकपा विहार कुलाचलेन्द्र द्रोणेषु अनंग सकमारुत सौभगासु सिद्धैर्नुतो द्युदनीपात शिवस्वनासु रेमे चिराम धनदवलना परुति
द्रोणेश्वरंगा सकमारुत सौभागसु
तेनास्तलोकपा विहार कुलाचलेन्द्र द्रोणीषु अनंग सकमारुत सौभगासु सिद्धैर्नुतो द्युदनिपात शिवस्वनासु रेमे चिरं धनदवललना वरुति. Word to word. Tena, by that aeroplane, Astalokapa, of the predominating deities of the 8 heavenly planets, Vihara, the pleasure grounds, Kula Achala Indra, of the king of the mountains, Meru, Dronishu, in the valleys, Ananga of passion, Saka, the companions, Maruta, with breezes, Sobagasu, beautiful, Siddhai, by the Siddhas, Nuta, being praised, Juduni of the Ganga, Pata of the downfall, Siva Swanasu, vibrating with auspicious sounds. Reme, he enjoyed, Chiram, for a long time, Dana, Davat, like Kuvera, Lalana, by damsels, Varudi, surrounded. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the aerial mansion, he traveled to the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru, which were rendered all the more beautiful by cool, gentle, fragrant breezes that stimulated passion. In these valleys, the treasurer of the gods, Kuvera, surrounded by beautiful women and praised by the Siddhas, generally enjoys pleasure. Kardamuni also, surrounded by the beautiful damsels, and his wife went there and enjoyed for many, many years. Please repeat. In that aerial mansion, he traveled to the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru, which were rendered all the more beautiful by cool, gentle, fragrant breezes that stimulated passion. In these valleys, the treasure of the gods, Kuvera, surrounded by beautiful women, and praised by Siddhartha, generally enjoys pleasure. Kardamani also, surrounded by beautiful damsels, and his wife went there and enjoyed for many, many years. Purport by Sri Prabhupada. Kuvera is one of the 8 demigods who are in charge of different directions of the universe. It is said that Indra is in charge of the eastern side of the universe, where the heavenly planet or paradise is situated. Similarly, Agni is in charge of the southeastern portion of the universe. Yama, the demigod who punishes sinners, is in charge of the southern portion. Niruti is in charge of the southwestern portion part of the universe. Varuna, the demigod in charge of the waters, is in charge of the western portion. So Varuna passes, sometimes it is called western portion. Generally, we don't take the houses in the western direction in general. So Vayu, who controls the air and who has wings to travel in the air, is in charge of the northwestern part of the universe. And Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods, is in charge of the northern part of the universe. All these demigods take pleasure in the valleys of the Mount Meru, which is situated somewhere between the sun and the earth. In the aerial mansion, Kardamuni traveled throughout the 8 directions controlled by different demigods described above. And as the demigods go to Mount Meru, we also went there to enjoy life. When one is surrounded by beautiful young girls, sex stimulation naturally becomes prominent. Kardamuni was sexually stimulated and enjoyed his wife for many, many years in that part of Mount Meru. But his sex indulgence was praised by many, many siddhas, beings who have attained perfection, because it was intended to produce good progeny for the good of universal affairs. It is astonishing to see these words here. So it is actually praised. Let's understand this verse. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langete Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तों की जय। So here, if you look at this verse, seemingly, especially Kardam Muni is also attracted and is also in the mood of enjoyment. But so this previous verse, especially Prabhupada is talking about it in the purport and translation. That's why we have to read the previous verse. You see, Tasmin alupta mahima priyaya anurakto, where it is mentioned, though seemingly attached to his beloved consort while served by the Gandharva girl, the sage did not lose his glory. Alupta Mahima. So which means he is not performing this activity for some other purpose. Actually, is actually meant to create good progeny. That is the idea. And to look at this chapter, very, very important. This chapter is actually very important for Grahasthas. So more than others. It is an important instruction for everybody is there. We can just recap and understand the important instruction. First point this chapter is talking about understanding the desires of the Supreme Lord and Spiritual Master, using Ingita Kovida, Nityam constantly. Otherwise, it should be comparison is given like how Lord Shiva and how Durga Devi, how they serve each other. Same way the Devahoti and Kardamuni is being compared with them. Where it is, every woman is expected to be as good as chaste as Devahoti or Bhavani, because they understanding the desires of the husband. Bhavani served Lord Shiva. Same way, the understanding the desires of Kardamuni, Devahuti served. So that means for us, this is for Grihasthas, especially one who is Krishna conscious husband. And as a devotee for others also, it is understanding always the desires of the spiritual master and Sri Prabhupada, previous acharyas, is very, very important. This is the first and foremost point chapter starting with. Then further, for those grihasthas are about to be married, further instructions are given in this pastime. Girls are not taught to select husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotion service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband. And if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotion service of the husband, because she gets 50% from the husband. Because she renders him service, this reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder life. So that's why. So yesterday, I think yesterday or day before also, Guru was giving class. Somebody is giving questioning on this aspect of Kardamun and Devati. How come Kardamun is enjoying or something? How Grahastha should take. Some people say that you should enjoy when you just get married. Some years you can enjoy. Or some say that you shouldn't enjoy, you should control. So on those aspects, where was mentioning, ideally the one who wants to marry, the wife should be looking for somebody who's mature and Krishna conscious. And same way the opposite also. The husband, man should be looking for somebody who's qualified or engaging in Krishna consciousness. That's how it should be. Then actually then the reciprocation of service or love and between husband and wife will be the ideal for household life. Otherwise, it's a great difficulty. We'll come to that point of how this verse, what it means. Further it is mentioned that Vishramba Atma Sauchena Gauravena Damena Cha Susrushaya Sauhrudena, with intimacy and purity of the mind and body, with great respect and with control of the senses, with service, with the love and sweet words. This is how one must serve. These points are there in devotion service also. Rupa Goswami mentioned. Adav Guru Ashrayam, Sadharma Prucha, Vishramba Sevanam. Before you ask questions, one must surrender to spiritual master, understanding his desires, and serve him with great respect. With great respect. That respect, that's why we have to use not humble obeisances. Repeatedly, Guru Maharaj chastised many who keep saying humble. No, it has to be respectful obeisances. However close we may be with Guru, that very respectful behavior should be always there in our attitude, in our consciousness. So that's very important. Otherwise, we will become offensive, which is completely stopping our actual progress of devotion service. With Guru, we have to be very, very careful. But it must not be familiarity that breeds contempt. So that's why this respect should be there. According to the Vedic civilization, wife cannot call her husband by name. In the present civilization, wife calls her husband by name, sometimes Pinky, whatnot, so many names. But in Hindu civilization, she does not. Thus, the inferiority and superiority complex are recognized. The wife has to learn to control herself, even if there is a misunderstanding. Sahrudena vacha madhuraya means always desiring good for the husband and speaking to him with sweet words. A person becomes agitated by so many material contacts in the outside world. Therefore, in his home life, he must be treated by his wife with sweet words. A very important principle. So that it's not so easy otherwise. That's why, as soon as this is not there, immediately you have always issues in the family life. When this control is not there, when this Vishrama within the great respect and love is not there, the purity is not there of mind and body, constantly desiring material things, not of Lord or Guru service, then automatically this control is not there. Then it produces unwanted results. Sometimes it worse results also. And lately we see in this today's modern civilization. Because that to start with, before entering into that marriage itself, they are not looking for that Krishna consciousness in both sides. So then obviously what can you expect? You can't expect great things. Kardamuni is a great by spiritual qualification. That's why we have, in order to understand this work, we have to look at what are the qualifications of the husband and wife, Kardamuni and Devati. Why did he go and enjoy? For what purpose he enjoyed? That we have to understand. Otherwise, we take it, I can also enjoy. So that's why the main instruction from this verse is restraint. Restraint on the body level, gross body, restraint on the subtle level, mind, intelligence, false ego. And today, almost pretty much every day, we are looking for, let's look at nice dress, nice food. So everything nice, comfort, nice sofa, nice home, nice car. This is nice thing is. But if you look at everything, we want externally nice. But internally, all the karma vasanas there. Lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, everything is there internally. These karma vasanas has to be removed. Kardamuni and Devavati, highly qualified, engaged in Krishna. She spent so much time to serve her husband without looking for any benefits. She didn't even care for her own bodily comforts. Are we in that position? We are not. So that's why we cannot take this verse and think that I can also enjoy. If Kardamuni enjoyed it, I can also enjoy. But he is only doing this because the platform has to be the intention. His intention is not to enjoy, actually. His intention is to produce proper children. That's why who produce? Are we able to see Krishna directly? Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. Here, Kardamuni is able to see Lord Vishnu personally appeared in front of him. Not only that, the Lord appeared as son. It doesn't happen for you and me. It happens only for the pure devotee, realized souls. They can have vision. They can. That's why we have to understand the desires of the spiritual master and supreme. So that's why the restraint has to be there on the gross level, which means how we dress. The parents have a very important duty to make sure their children are properly dressed. It is so important. Even for girls, it is even more important. So lately, this is a modern civilization, even a temple civilization. Also, this is happening. This is not good at all for Krishna conscious principles. It's not good. Because when the restraint is not there on the gross level, how can you expect a restraint in the subtle level? You can't expect. You're constantly being agitated, you're bringing agitation to yourself, to others, then what are you going to expect? Karma vasanas are lifetimes it is going on. How can you expect a restraint in the subtle body, mind into the false ego? It cannot. You cannot expect peacefulness. You cannot expect harmony anywhere. So that first restraint has to be there. Properly, body has to be properly covered up. Shastra is very strict on this principle. So that's the gross principle, the first external things itself, we have to be clear. What kind of food, what kind of comforts we accept, we follow. Then the subtle body, you come to the subtle body. First, that's why it is like the car. You have the steering, you have the brake, and you have accelerator. You go on, as soon as you get on the car, you go on, accelerating and you start using the brake. That means you don't have a proper restraint. Controlling the steering is very important job, which is that way the spiritual master. You are independently acting. When you don't have restraint, then obviously you'll go in wrong direction. You're not going to develop actually any Krishna consciousness inside the heart. It cannot remove unwanted others. But when you are dependent on the spiritual master, because he's the one actually steering, the steering is very important, because the brake and accelerator you can constantly go on, but unless the steering you are able to control the steering, you know how much, because if speed limit is there, these regulative principles are already there. How much speed limit, so that it is externally teaching us, hey, don't go over speed. It's not good for you. You're going to get a ticket, or it's not good for you even for your own safety. So that restraints are there in the Shastra again and again through Rupa Goswami's Upadesha Amrita, by using, controlling the six arjas or Atyahar Prayasascha. Few verses are all talking about. In Bhagavad Gita also we see that Matra Sastras Konteya. First, these principles has to be taught. Unless the gross principles, how to restrain ourselves in the way we dress, in the way we eat, even if it is prasadam. You cannot just go on eating. Hundreds of items are there. You go on, grab and eat. There is no limit how much we eat and how you don't control it. Then, yes, if you are going to engage in service like Jayananda Prabhu, yes, you can eat till your neck and you work, you do service, then great, no problem. But you are not able to, you are going to fall, you are going to sleep, and you are tired, you can't do service, then what is the use of eating till neck? No use. So that's what that restraint has to be there. So brake and accelerator has to be applied at a proper level. That restraint, then you are in safety. Then you are following the regulated principle for even to. Otherwise, car will constantly go on replacing brakes. So that's what is happening with us. You practice, Prabhu, I am not able to progress in devotion service. Why? Because when the restraint is not there, you think I want to dress very nicely, I want to be comfortable, everything comfortable, nice things outside. But internally, you want everything nice. Senses has to be controlled, the mind has to be controlled, intelligence has to be. How can you expect? You just cannot expect. So these things has to be understood in the proper context. You look at this Devahuti and Kardamuni example, and you see that how ideal way they practiced it. So that's why we have to read Prabhupada's books and follow exactly. Prabhupada is very strict on this. He's very strong in his lectures. And the other day, Olna Jayadvaisa Maharaj class also very on that same point. You may feel that it's very strong and people walk out. Still, they are not interested in how many people are sitting in the class. That is not the business of Acharya. Acharya's business is to give the dose according to the, what the condition of the living entities is, what platform they are operating, what they are attracted with. Acharya knows exactly. He doesn't need to be told what's going on. He will be known. He will know. So Prabhupada knows what's going on in the world. So that's why he has given the strong dosage. But we don't want to hear. We don't want to hear rascal. We don't want to hear fools. So that's why we go away and hear from somebody else who is speaking nicely, jokes and stories and whatnot. So that's why when we hear from Prabhupada and read Prabhupada's books every day, then you can see the transformation. Then you can have a restraint on the gross body and subtle body. Otherwise, there is no chance. We go on spending time in this way. It's very difficult to actually develop any taste for chanting the holy name. So further, let's look at further here. She would have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. The wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to the husband, must give up all vanity. Obviously, this is Krishna conscious husband. In general, also submissiveness is required. As soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, that also many times. That's why generally in previous day they used to look at both sides, because if one side is imbalanced, then automatically it brings pride and brings so many unwanted things. It doesn't give harmony. So that's why this principle is mentioned. As soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding between the husband and wife, and their nuptial life is ruined. So that further important point is, she must be prepared to follow the principles of the husband, and then there will be happy life. If the husband is a devotee, then the wife, if the and wife is materialistic, there cannot be any peace in the home. See that principle. It's very important. Okay, whatever is done, but at least now onward we have to understand, at least try to practice or help. If the wife is Krishna conscious, then the wife should help the husband to as much as very tolerating, even though he is not Krishna conscious, at least should try to serve in such a way that we are not busy in ourselves, but we are trying to serve husband, trying to bring him to Krishna, trying to be compassionate, trying to be merciful, try to bring him to the association of sadhus, try to bring him the prasadam, whatever way we have to try our best to keep on. We have to cry, we have to pray, we have to do our best. We cannot simply say that my husband is not good, my husband is not good. We can't keep on thinking negative. We have to sincerely try and try, then Lord will listen to the prayers, how much we sincerely try. And we have to do our job to the best possible way. Then Lord will listen, Sadhu will listen, Sadhu will shower mercy, Lord will shower mercy. Prabhupada, we have to pray to Sri Prabhupada, and Prabhupada will show the way how to, come out of these situations. There cannot be any peace in the home. The wife must see the tendencies of the husband and must be prepared to follow him. It's a very important principle both ways. Especially the wife should try to follow the husband if they are Krishna conscious, especially. I'm very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. This is Kardamani speaking to Devapati. Because she, without expecting anything, she served the husband like anything. She didn't expect even body. She was not eating properly. She was not taking rest properly. She's only concerned. This is the quality of a disciple. His duty is, many times you'll see that. Some people just, when sadhu comes in, you'll just say, Hare Krishna Maharaj, and bow down, done. He's done. But those who are really genuine, seeking real mercy from end to end, when sadhu enters, when sadhu leaves, is very attentive, very careful, how to serve, how to listen, how everything is very, very careful. Then the real mercy is there. So that's why there are different levels, how you serve sadhu. You have to be very attentive when sadhu enters and until he leaves. You have to hear from him, you have to serve him, you have to observe. You have to observe very carefully. If you don't know, then you have to observe others, how they are doing, then gradually we learn. We cannot just jump, every time I should be there in the front. We have to learn. A lot of observation has to be there in Krishna consciousness. By observation, then we learn. Otherwise, we'll keep on committing mistakes. The restraint has to be there. If the restraint is not there, our mouth always wants to talk. We want to be the front runners. We want to speak. This is always there, even in devotion service. However great, whether we are sannyasi or grahastha, one of us, doesn't matter. This is always there. This pride is always there within us. So this can only be restrained if we are completely submitting to the lotus feet of spiritual master, offering everything in his service, always asking him, please correct me, please engage me, please guide me, how to serve, how to improve everything. Then sadhu will give his mercy by seeing our submissive behavior. Otherwise, how can you expect? You can't expect. Acting to facilitate Kardamuni's engagement in spiritual elevation, she continually assisted him, not caring for bodily comfort. It is the duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect, especially when the husband is engaged in Krishna consciousness. It's a very important principle. And I think, my Guru was mentioning for that same question as I was talking about earlier, I was talking about, where he mentioned, yes, there are husband and wife who are constantly engaged every day to expand the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, to serve, to expand, how to conduct Bhakti Vriksha programs, how to preach, how to increase the preaching, how to correct, how to improve our service. This is the ideal way of Grihastha life. That's what Guru Maharaj is mentioning, showing the examples of Middle East and many other examples, how wife and husband are serving to actually helping in the mission of Sri Prabhupada. This is the idea, because Guru Maharaj is lately repeating the same point, that Prabhupada's class, repeating the Prabhupada's class point in London, that I want the every Grihastha to be Paramahamsa. So when there is no restraint, how can you expect to come to the Paramahamsa level? There is no possibility. So that's why we are missing the actual, the basic fundamentals of Krishna consciousness. So we can't expect to go deep. We can't expect to progress in devotion service when there is no restraint. So that's why, with what intention, the platform has to be proper first. Then you can internally, we can focus more. So further, in this case, the husband also amply rewarded the wife. This is not to be expected by a woman who is the wife of an ordinary person. So again, the difference is there between Kardama and Devavati, but at least we can draw the, some lessons and try to improve. We obviously cannot imitate Kardama and Devavati, what they have done. At least we can draw something and then try to improve the way we do, way we dress, way we eat, way we act, way we interact. So by serving or receiving the grace of the spiritual master, this is the important one. By serving or receiving the grace of spiritual master, one receives the grace of the Supreme Lord. By serving her devotee husband, Kardamani, Devavati shared in his achievements. Similarly, a sincere disciple, simply by serving a bona fide spiritual master, can achieve all the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master simultaneously. What that will be? What the mercy is, what the grace is? Free from fearfulness. All distresses are destroyed. No more anchoring, no more lamentation. One achieves the full result of the law. And it requires a lot of practice. And it requires a lot of patience also. Just like, you put any plant, any tree, can you get your fruits immediately? No, you have to wait. Some of the plants may give maybe in a few weeks or few months. But most of the plants, it requires, especially the mango or some of these fruits, it requires almost a few months or years to get for Krishna to produce the fruit of Krishna consciousness, which is to attain Krishna prema. It requires a lot of practice, a lot of tolerance, a lot of patience, and a lot of enthusiasm. So every festival we have to actually be ready to jump, ready to serve. We should be forward. We should be asking, Prabhu, where is the service? Can you give me service? When this attitude is not there, how can you expect mercy? Neither we have a restraint, neither we have the enthusiasm to serve. Then how can you expect a restraint internally? You can't expect a restraint. You cannot, Prabhu, give me mercy. How will you give mercy? How anybody can give mercy? How Prabhupada can give mercy? You are not ready to follow what he is saying, then you can't expect mercy. So that is what the instruction we are getting from Kardamuni and Devavati from this verse. Externally, seemingly, if you read the verse, you'll think that, oh, I can also enjoy nicely in valleys of Mount Meru or in this US, in New York or wherever. But that is not the actual point, significant point we have to learn. So it's actually much more deeper than that. Thank you very much for patiently listening. Grandra Samad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktam ki jai. Pancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyo Vidyānām Pāvanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Krishna Prabhu. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Singho, Jai Singho, Paladesha, Jaya Padmukha Padmadrigam, Ugra Veeram,
Sarvamukam,
Nrsimha Bhagwan ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo पतितानां पावनमयो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वैष्णववृंद की
की
जय।
जय।
संतराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
की जय।
शिला प्रभुपाद
पाद
की
की
जय।
जय।
गौर प्रेमानंदे।
हरि 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 बोल।
Very well.
Thank you, Krishna. Wonderful. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you
Hare
everybody. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.